We all have dreams, goals, and things we want to achieve in life. But sometimes we find ourselves getting in our own way. We let our thoughts, emotions, and habits control us instead of the other way around. We might say things we regret, let our moods steer us off course, and even make financial decisions that don't serve us in the long run. But here's the thing, you have the power to change all of that. You have the ability to take control of your mouth, mind, mood, and money, and with it, you can change your life. This book isn't about complicated theories or abstract concepts. It's about real, practical advice you can start using today to make your life better. I'm not going to tell you that it will be easy or that you'll be perfect from day one. But what I can tell you is that if you're willing to put in the effort, you'll see results. You'll learn how to speak with intention, think with purpose, manage your emotions, and make smarter financial choices that align with your goals. Throughout this journey, you'll find actionable tips, clear exercises, and stories of real people who have been where you are and have taken control of their lives. This book is your guide to taking charge, building discipline, and creating lasting success in every area of your life. The truth is, the way you think, the way you speak, the way you feel, and the way you handle money all influence the life you live. If you want more for yourself, more peace, more success, more happiness, it starts with mastering these 4 key areas. So are you ready to take control? Let's dive in and start making meaningful changes together. Your best life is waiting. Chapter 1. The Power of Words. Have you ever stopped to think about how powerful your words are? Not just the words you speak to others, but the ones you say to yourself. Every day, you're shaping your reality with the language you choose, and most of us don't even realize it. The words you say have the power to build or destroy, to inspire or tear down, to create or limit. And that's true for the words you use in your conversations, your self-talk, and even the words you write. If you want to change your life, you have to start by changing the words you use. You've probably heard the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." It sounds good, right? But in reality, words have a much bigger impact than most people realize. They can shape your confidence, your relationships, and even the way you see the world. In fact, I would go as far as to say that your words, both the ones you speak and the ones you think, are the foundation of your life. What you believe about yourself and the world is directly influenced by the words you use every single day. Think about the times when someone has said something to you that stuck with you long after the conversation ended. Maybe it was a compliment that made you feel seen and appreciated, or maybe it was a criticism that made you doubt yourself. Either way, those words had an impact. The same goes for the words you speak to others. Every time you speak, you're leaving a mark, whether it's a positive one or a negative one. Now let me ask you a question. When you talk to yourself, what do you say? Is your internal dialogue encouraging, supportive, and empowering, or is it filled with doubt, self-criticism, and fear? The truth is, your self-talk is one of the most important conversations you'll ever have. It influences how you show up in the world and how you face challenges. If you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough, or you're not capable, you'll start to believe it. But if you speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement, you'll start to believe in your own strength and potential. Let's take a moment to reflect on the power of words in our daily lives. Have you ever noticed how the words you use in your conversations shape the way people see you? If you're always speaking in a negative or complaining tone, it's likely that people will start to associate you with those emotions. On the other hand, if you choose to speak with optimism, gratitude, and kindness, people will respond to you differently. The way you communicate has a direct effect on your relationships, whether they're with friends, family, co-workers, or even strangers. Think about the last time someone said something to you that made you feel uplifted. Maybe it was a friend who told you, "I believe in you," or a colleague who said, "Great job on that presentation." Those words made you feel good, right? They boosted your confidence and reminded you of your worth. Now imagine the opposite, someone telling you you'll never make it or you're not cut out for this. Those words can crush your spirit, make you doubt yourself, and leave you questioning your abilities. It's not just what other people say to you that matters, it's also how you speak to them. The words you choose when interacting with others can either build trust and strengthen relationships, or create distance and tension. If you're always criticizing or complaining, people are less likely to want to be around you. But if you speak words of encouragement, understanding, and support, you'll create deeper connections with the people in your life. And it's not just about the words you say out loud, it's also about the words you say to yourself when no one else is around. Your internal dialogue has an enormous impact on your mindset and your overall well-being. Have you ever found yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this"? Those thoughts don't just stay in your head, they influence how you act, how you feel, and how you approach challenges. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not capable or that you'll never succeed, you're setting yourself up for failure before you even begin. But what if you changed that internal dialogue? What if instead of saying, "I can't," you said, "I haven't mastered this yet, but I will"? What if instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you thought, "I am worthy of success, and I have what it takes to get there"? The words you use in your self-talk are incredibly powerful, and by changing them, you can completely transform your mindset and your life. It's not always easy to change the way we think or speak, but it's possible, and it starts with awareness. The first step is to notice the language you're using. Pay attention to the words you speak to yourself and to others. Are they uplifting or discouraging? Are they empowering or limiting? Once you become aware of the language you're using, you can begin to make a conscious effort to replace negative words with positive ones. For example, instead of saying, "I can't do this," try saying, "I'm still learning, and I'll get better with practice." Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," try thinking, "I am worthy of success, and I am constantly improving." Small shifts in your language can have a big impact on your mindset and the way you show up in the world. But it's not just about changing the way you talk to yourself. It's also about the language you use when interacting with others. How do you speak to the people in your life? Are you kind, supportive, and encouraging? Or do you often find yourself criticizing or complaining? If you want to build strong, positive relationships, you need to choose your words carefully. Speak to others the way you would want to be spoken to, with respect, kindness, and understanding. And remember, the words you speak don't just affect your relationships, they also shape your future. The language you use can either limit you or propel you forward. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not capable of achieving your goals, you'll likely never take the necessary steps to make them a reality. But if you speak to yourself with belief and confidence, you'll find the motivation to take action and create the life you want. So, how do you start taking control of your words? First, commit to becoming more aware of the language you use. Pay attention to your self-talk and the way you speak to others. Notice when you're using negative or limiting language and make a conscious effort to replace it with positive, empowering words. Second, practice speaking words of encouragement, love, and support, both to yourself and to others. And third, remember that your words are powerful. They have the ability to shape your mindset, your relationships, and your future. Choose them wisely. The truth is, the power to change your life is already in your hands. It starts with the words you speak. So take a moment right now to think about the language you're using. Are you speaking words of empowerment and encouragement, or are you allowing negativity and self-doubt to dictate your life? If you want to change your life, start by changing the words you use. You have the power to create the life you desire, one word at a time. Chapter 2. The Mind-Word Connection. Have you ever stopped to think about how your thoughts shape your words and how your words shape your life? It's easy to forget that the language we use isn't just about what we say, but also about what we think. The thoughts running through your mind are like the blueprint for everything that comes out of your mouth. And if you want to change the way you communicate with others, you first need to change the way you communicate with yourself. The connection between your mind and your words is deeper than you might realize. What's happening in your mind shows up in what you say, and what you say has a way of reflecting right back into your mindset, often without you even noticing. Think about it. When you're feeling low, frustrated, or defeated, what kind of words are coming out of your mouth? If you've had a rough day, you might find yourself complaining, criticizing, or saying things like, "I'm not good enough," or "this is impossible." And let me tell you, that kind of language doesn't just come from nowhere. It's rooted in the way you're thinking. When you have negative thoughts about yourself, about a situation, or about life in general, it's almost impossible not to express those thoughts through your words. The two are inextricably linked, and if you want to make a lasting change in your life, you've got to break the cycle. The truth is, our words don't just express what's going on in our minds, they can actually influence the way we think and feel. When we say something out loud, it reinforces the thoughts we've been thinking. Think about the last time you felt really confident. Maybe you were about to take on something challenging, and you said to yourself, "I've got this," or "I'm ready." When you speak those words, you're telling yourself, "I believe in myself." You're reinforcing a thought that empowers you. That belief in yourself then shapes the way you approach the challenge ahead. But on the flip side, when you tell yourself, "This is too hard," or "I'll never get it right," you're reinforcing doubt. And that doubt influences your actions in ways you may not even realize. So here's the thing, if you want to take control of your life, you have to start by taking control of your thoughts. The language that's floating around in your head is influencing everything: your confidence, your actions, your relationships, and even your results. If you're constantly thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," then those words will eventually make their way into your speech and the way you show up in the world. It's a vicious cycle, and it's one that's entirely within your power to break. The first step is recognizing the negative thought patterns that are driving your speech. We all have them, but most of the time, we're not aware of them. They show up in little ways, like when you talk yourself out of taking a risk, or when you say something that sounds more like an excuse than a solution. You may have a negative thought pop up that you didn't even notice, and the next thing you know, you're saying something that's laced with self-doubt. It's like you're on autopilot, running the same script over and over again. Once you start to notice those negative thoughts, the key is to reframe them. Reframing is the practice of changing your perspective and choosing a more empowering thought to replace a negative one. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not smart enough to handle this," you can reframe that by saying, "I may not know everything, but I'm capable of learning, and I'm willing to put in the effort." When you reframe your thoughts, you're not just changing your mindset, you're changing the way you speak. And when you change the way you speak, you start to change your life. You see, the words we use don't just reflect what's going on inside of us. They also have the power to shape what happens next. The more you speak words of possibility, confidence, and empowerment, the more you will believe those things are possible. It's a shift that starts in your mind and extends outward into every area of your life. But it requires practice and intention. It's easy to fall back into old patterns, especially when you're facing challenges or feeling down. But the more you catch yourself in those negative thought patterns and actively choose to reframe them, the more you'll build a new way of thinking and speaking that will serve you in ways you can't even imagine right now. One of the most powerful exercises you can do to change your mind and your words is to start paying attention to your internal dialogue. What are you saying to yourself throughout the day? Are you giving yourself words of encouragement, or are you feeding yourself a constant stream of negativity? Your thoughts are like the seeds you plant in your mind, and the words you speak are like the water that nurtures them. If you want to grow a garden of confidence and possibility, you need to plant the right seeds and water them with positive, empowering language. Start by paying close attention to your thoughts, especially when they're negative or self-critical. When you catch yourself thinking something that doesn't serve you, try to reframe it. Let's say you're about to give a presentation and you think, "I'm going to mess up," or "I'm not good enough for this." Pause for a moment and reframe that thought. "I've prepared for this, and I'm capable of handling whatever comes my way." You're not denying that there might be challenges ahead, but you're choosing to speak to yourself in a way that empowers you to face them with confidence. It's important to note that changing your thoughts and words isn't about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring reality. It's about shifting your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. It's about recognizing that, while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond to it, starting with the words you choose to speak. Think of it this way: if your mind is like a garden, your thoughts are the seeds, and your words are the water. If you consistently water the garden with negativity, you'll cultivate a patch of weeds. But if you water it with positivity, possibility, and belief, you'll grow a garden that reflects your true potential. Your words can either feed your fears or fuel your confidence. The choice is yours. So how can you start taking control of this mind-word connection? The first step is awareness. Start paying attention to the thoughts you're having and the words you're speaking. Notice when you're falling into negative patterns and then choose to reframe them. Start using language that reflects your strengths, your potential, and your resilience. The more you practice this, the more natural it will become. Over time, you'll begin to notice a shift in the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you show up in the world. Your words are powerful. They shape your reality, and they shape your future. When you change your thoughts, you change your words, and when you change your words, you change your life. The mind-word connection is one of the most powerful tools you have in your journey to success. If you're ready to take control, it starts right here, right now, with the words you speak. Chapter 3. Mood Matters. Have you ever noticed how your mood can completely change the way you communicate with others? It's almost as if your emotions have a language of their own, one that's often louder and more powerful than anything you say out loud. It's like you're speaking in a different tone, even when you're using the same words. One minute you're feeling upbeat and positive, and your words reflect that energy. The next minute, your mood takes a nosedive, and suddenly, everything you say seems more impatient, defensive, or short. It's incredible how much our moods influence the way we interact with the world. But here's the good news: if you learn how to control your mood, you can control the way you communicate and ultimately improve your relationships and your life. The truth is, your mood isn't just something that happens to you, it's something you can influence, shape, and manage. It's not always easy, especially when you're faced with challenges or difficult situations. But by becoming aware of how your mood affects your behavior and learning how to manage it, you'll find that your relationships improve, your conversations flow more smoothly, and you're able to approach life with a greater sense of calm and control. Let's take a step back for a moment and think about the last time your mood impacted the way you communicated. Maybe you were having a bad day at work, and your frustration started spilling over into a conversation with a friend or loved one. Or perhaps you were feeling down, and your words came out more harshly than you intended. We've all been there. Our moods can be like a filter, distorting the way we express ourselves and how we perceive others. When we're in a good mood, everything feels easier. We speak more kindly, we listen more attentively, and we approach conversations with an open mind. But when we're in a bad mood, even the simplest interactions can feel like a battle. It's not just about how we speak to others, though. Our mood affects the way we see the world around us. When we're in a positive mood, we tend to focus on the good things. We notice the little victories, the small moments of joy, and the opportunities for growth. But when we're in a negative mood, everything seems clouded. We may fixate on the problems, the challenges, or the things that aren't going right. Our mood influences our perspective, and our perspective influences our actions. It's a cycle that can either empower us or hold us back. So, how do we break this cycle? How can we take control of our mood before it takes control of us? The first step is recognizing that you have the power to influence how you feel. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that our moods are entirely dependent on external factors, our circumstances, the people around us, or even the weather. But the truth is, your mood is largely a result of how you choose to respond to the world. It's about taking responsibility for your emotional state and recognizing that you can shift your mood at any given moment. Of course, I know it's not always that simple. When you're in the middle of a stressful situation or dealing with something difficult, it can be hard to snap out of a negative mood. But that's where mindfulness comes in. By becoming more aware of your emotions and how they're influencing your behavior, you can start to take control of them. Mindfulness is about being present in the moment, without judgment, and allowing yourself to notice how you're feeling without getting swept away by it. It's about observing your emotions rather than being controlled by them. Once you're aware of how you're feeling, the next step is to choose how you want to respond. If you're feeling frustrated, anxious, or angry, it's easy to react impulsively, but that often leads to regret later. Instead, take a deep breath and give yourself a moment to pause. Ask yourself, how do I want to show up in this moment? What kind of energy do I want to bring to this conversation? It may not always be easy, but in those moments of pause, you have the power to shift your mood. One of the most effective ways to shift your mood is by changing your focus. When you're feeling low or upset, it's natural to focus on the negative, on what's not working, what's going wrong, or what you don't have. But when you shift your focus to gratitude, even for the smallest things, it can completely change your perspective. Gratitude is like a reset button for your mood. It forces you to notice the positives, to look for the good, and to appreciate what you do have. In the middle of a stressful situation, take a moment to think about something you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as a kind word from a friend or a hot cup of coffee in the morning. When you focus on gratitude, your mood will naturally start to shift toward positivity. Another powerful way to manage your mood is through physical movement. I know it sounds simple, but it works. When you're feeling down, try going for a walk, stretching, or doing some deep breathing exercises. Physical activity releases endorphins, which are your body's natural mood boosters. It can be a quick way to shake off a bad mood and reset your mindset. Even just a few minutes of movement can make a huge difference in how you feel. And don't forget about the power of self-compassion. We're often our own harshest critics, especially when we're feeling low. But the more you practice being kind to yourself, especially when you're struggling, the more you'll be able to manage your mood with grace. Remember, it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to feel upset or frustrated. The key is to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend. Self-compassion is about acknowledging your emotions without judgment and giving yourself permission to feel what you feel. From that place of acceptance, it's much easier to move toward a more balanced and positive mood. As you begin to practice these techniques, you'll start to notice a shift in how you communicate. When you take control of your mood, your conversations become more thoughtful, patient, and intentional. You'll find yourself speaking with more clarity, listening more attentively, and responding in ways that align with the person you want to be. It's incredible how much power you have over your own emotional state. By learning to manage your mood, you're not only improving your communication skills, you're also improving your overall quality of life. The way you feel influences everything. It shapes the words you speak, the actions you take, and the way you show up in the world. So take charge of your mood. Don't let it dictate your life. Instead, choose to approach every situation with intention, mindfulness, and a positive mindset. You'll be amazed at the difference it can make, not just in how you communicate, but in how you experience the world. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. And before you know it, you'll be the one influencing the mood of the room, bringing positive energy into every conversation and interaction. Chapter 4. The Art of Listening. I'm sure you've heard the saying, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. But how often do we really listen? I mean truly listen, not just wait for our turn to talk. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the habit of talking more than we listen. But what if I told you that the key to improving your relationships, your career, and even your emotional well-being lies in one simple skill: listening? Listening is an art, a skill that not only deepens relationships, but also helps you understand people on a much deeper level. We tend to think that communicating effectively means getting our point across, sharing our thoughts, or convincing others to see things our way. But real communication, true connection, begins with listening. It's about showing someone that you value them enough to give them your full attention, to hear them, and to truly understand what they're saying. When you listen deeply, you not only strengthen your relationship with others, but also gain insights that can change your perspective and help you grow. Let's face it, most of us aren't as great at listening as we'd like to believe. Think about the last conversation you had. Were you fully present, or were you distracted, maybe thinking about your to-do list, or what you were going to say next? If you're like most people, you probably weren't completely focused. The truth is, we've become so accustomed to multitasking and being in a rush that we forget to slow down and listen. When you're not fully present, you miss out on important details, cues, and feelings that can make all the difference in understanding someone else's perspective. But here's the thing, becoming a great listener is something that can be learned. It's a skill that requires intention, focus, and practice. And the best part is, you don't have to be perfect at it. The goal isn't to become a flawless listener, but to make a conscious effort to improve every time you engage with someone. The more you practice, the better you'll get at truly listening, and the more you'll gain from those interactions. One of the most powerful things you can do when you're listening is to be completely present. When someone is talking to you, give them your undivided attention. Put down your phone, stop thinking about what's coming next, and really tune in to what they're saying. It's amazing how much of a difference this makes. People can tell when you're not fully engaged, and it can make them feel unimportant or undervalued. But when you listen actively, when you make eye contact and give your full attention, it sends a powerful message. I care about what you're saying, and I want to understand you. This level of attention builds trust, strengthens bonds, and opens up communication in ways that words alone can't. And it's not just about hearing the words. It's about understanding the emotions behind them. People don't always say what they mean on the surface. Sometimes what they're really expressing isn't in their words at all, but in their tone, body language, or the way they pause before speaking. That's why being a good listener means paying attention to more than just the words. It means listening with your whole being, your eyes, your heart, and your mind. When you focus on the emotions behind the words, you gain insight into what someone is truly feeling. You start to connect on a deeper level. And when people feel truly heard, they're more likely to open up and communicate more honestly. Another key to effective listening is patience. In our fast-paced world, we often want to rush through conversations or jump in with our own thoughts and opinions. But the best listeners are patient enough to let others speak freely. Sometimes, people need a little time to express themselves fully. If you rush them or interrupt, you're not giving them the space they need to share their thoughts completely. Allowing for pauses in the conversation isn't uncomfortable. It's an opportunity to reflect, process, and let the person you're speaking with gather their thoughts. This patience not only shows respect for the other person, but also creates a space for deeper, more meaningful communication. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest challenges to listening: judgment. It's easy to listen with a critical ear, to analyze every word someone says and form an opinion about it. But true listening requires you to set aside judgment. When you listen without jumping to conclusions, without forming an opinion about what the other person is saying, you create an open space for understanding. Instead of thinking, "I don't agree with that," or "that doesn't make sense," try to listen with curiosity. Ask yourself, what can I learn from what this person is saying? When you remove judgment from the equation, you're better able to empathize with their perspective and build a stronger connection. You might be thinking, but what if I don't agree with what they're saying? And that's a valid concern. It's natural to feel the urge to respond with your own viewpoint, especially when you strongly disagree. But here's the key: you don't have to agree to listen. Listening isn't about endorsing someone else's opinions. It's about acknowledging their right to have those opinions and understanding where they're coming from. It's about seeing the world through their eyes, even if it's different from your own perspective. This level of understanding creates a space for healthier, more respectful conversations, and it opens the door for mutual growth. Another important aspect of listening is asking questions. When you ask thoughtful questions, you show the other person that you're interested in what they have to say and that you want to understand them better. But there's an art to asking questions. Instead of asking questions just to get more information, ask questions that encourage the other person to open up. For example, instead of asking, "Did you have a good day?" try something more open-ended, like, "What was the highlight of your day?" This type of question invites a deeper conversation and shows that you care about their experience, not just the surface-level details. Listening also involves reflecting back what you hear. This doesn't mean repeating every word they say, but it means showing that you've understood. For example, if someone shares a challenge they're facing, you might say, "It sounds like you're feeling frustrated because of that situation." This reflection not only clarifies understanding, but also helps the other person feel heard and validated. It lets them know that you're not just passively hearing their words, but actively engaging with their experience. The benefits of becoming a better listener are immense. Not only will you improve your relationships, but you'll also gain more trust, respect, and understanding from the people around you. When you listen well, you invite open and honest communication. You create an environment where others feel safe to share, knowing they'll be met with empathy and respect. In turn, this fosters stronger, more meaningful connections, whether in your personal life or at work. Listening is a skill that can be cultivated, practiced, and honed over time. It requires patience, empathy, and the willingness to be fully present in the moment. But when you make the effort to listen, not just with your ears but with your heart, you transform the way you communicate. You begin to connect with others on a deeper level, and your relationships grow stronger and more fulfilling. So, the next time you're in a conversation, take a moment to pause. Be fully present, listen without judgment, and let the other person know that their words matter. You'll be amazed at how much more connected you feel, and how much more meaningful your interactions become. Because in the end, the art of listening isn't just about hearing, it's about understanding. And understanding is the foundation of all great communication. Chapter 5. Managing Emotional Triggers. Have you ever found yourself reacting to a situation in a way that surprised you? Maybe you've snapped at someone for no reason, or overreacted to something small and regretted it later. Those moments when your emotions take over and you feel like you're not in control, they happen to all of us. But what if I told you that you don't have to be a prisoner of your emotions? What if you could learn to recognize and manage those emotional triggers before they take control of you? Emotional triggers are those situations, words, or actions that spark an intense emotional response in us. They can make us feel angry, sad, anxious, or defensive. Sometimes they're obvious, like a conflict with someone you care about, or a stressful situation at work. But other times, triggers can sneak up on you, hidden in things that seem minor at first. It could be the way someone looks at you, an offhand comment, or even just an old memory popping up unexpectedly. What matters isn't whether or not you have triggers, they're part of being human, but how you respond to them. Think about the last time you were triggered. Maybe it was during a conversation where someone said something that rubbed you the wrong way, or maybe you found yourself getting frustrated in traffic or in a long line. How did you respond? Did you lash out, shut down, or bottle everything up? That's the thing about emotional triggers. They can push us into automatic reactions, ones that we often wish we could take back. But the truth is, we all have them. The goal isn't to eliminate every emotional reaction, but to get better at managing those moments when they arise. The first step in managing your emotional triggers is awareness. Most of us walk around on autopilot, reacting to things without really thinking about why we're reacting the way we are. But when you start to pay attention, you'll notice that certain things tend to push your buttons more than others. Maybe it's when someone interrupts you in a conversation, or when you feel like you're not being heard. Maybe it's when you're under pressure and feel like everything is piling up. Whatever it is, identifying your triggers is the first step in taking control of them. The next step is to understand why you're being triggered. Sometimes, our reactions are tied to past experiences, things that have happened in our lives that we haven't fully processed or healed from. For example, if you had a difficult relationship with a parent growing up, certain behaviors from others may remind you of that experience and trigger feelings of anger or resentment. Other times, your triggers are connected to your values or insecurities. If you value respect and someone disrespects you, it can feel like a personal attack, even if it wasn't intended that way. Understanding the root cause of your triggers can give you a powerful tool for managing them. Now that you're aware of your triggers and understand where they come from, the next step is to pause before reacting. This is easier said than done, especially when emotions are running high. But that pause is crucial. It's the moment when you take a step back and give yourself space to choose how you want to respond. Instead of letting your emotions dictate your actions, you become the one in control. It's like having a brief moment of clarity in the middle of a storm. In that moment, you have a choice. You can choose to react impulsively, allowing your emotions to drive your behavior, or you can choose to respond with intention. This is where self-awareness and emotional regulation come into play. When you recognize that you're being triggered, you have the ability to step outside the situation and ask yourself, how do I want to handle this? What's the best response? It might take practice, but with time you'll get better at taking that pause and choosing your response instead of being swept away by your emotions. One technique that can help in these moments is deep breathing. When you feel triggered, your body goes into a state of heightened alertness, often referred to as the fight or flight response. This can make it harder to think clearly and respond calmly. But deep breathing helps activate the body's relaxation response, slowing down your heart rate and calming your mind. Taking a few deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth can help you regain control and bring yourself back to the present moment. Another powerful tool for managing emotional triggers is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations in the moment, without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you learn to observe your emotions without getting caught up in them. Instead of letting your emotions define you or dictate your behavior, you simply acknowledge them and let them pass through you. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means allowing them to be there without letting them control you. When you can observe your emotions without judgment, you create distance between yourself and the feelings that arise. It's like being an observer of your own experience, watching your thoughts and feelings unfold without reacting impulsively. The more you practice mindfulness, the easier it becomes to manage your triggers. You learn to detach from the emotional storm, and in that space you can respond with greater clarity and intention. Another important aspect of managing emotional triggers is self-compassion. When you're triggered, it's easy to fall into a cycle of self-criticism. You might think, why did I react that way? I should have handled that better. But beating yourself up doesn't help. In fact, it often makes things worse by adding guilt and shame on top of whatever emotion you're already feeling. Instead, practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that it's okay to feel triggered, and that it doesn't make you a bad person. What matters is how you respond moving forward. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend who was going through a tough time. This self-compassion helps you break free from the cycle of negative self-judgment and allows you to approach each situation with more grace and understanding. As you work on managing your emotional triggers, remember that this is a journey, not a destination. You won't be perfect, and that's okay. There will be times when you slip up, when your emotions get the best of you, or when you react in ways you later regret. But that doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. The key is to keep practicing, keep learning, and keep growing. The more you work on understanding and managing your emotional triggers, the more control you'll have over your reactions, and the more empowered you'll feel in every area of your life. In the end, managing emotional triggers isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's about learning how to handle them in a way that empowers you rather than holds you back. It's about creating space between the trigger and your response, and choosing to react with intention and mindfulness. By doing this, you'll not only improve your emotional well-being, but you'll also become a better communicator, a better listener, and a better version of yourself. So the next time you feel triggered, remember you have the power to choose how you respond. Take a deep breath, be kind to yourself, and choose a response that aligns with the person you want to be. Chapter 6. Cultivating a positive mindset. What would happen if you started believing that the best was always yet to come, that every challenge was an opportunity to grow, and that you had the power to shape your own future? Imagine waking up every day with a mindset that supports your success, that pushes you to be your best, no matter what obstacles you face. It sounds simple, but it's not always easy. We live in a world that can be overwhelming at times. There's always something pulling us in different directions, and it's easy to get caught up in the negativity, the worries, the doubts, the fears. But here's the truth. A positive mindset isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. It's a skill, one that can be developed and strengthened with practice. And the moment you decide to embrace it, your entire world can shift. A positive mindset doesn't mean pretending that life is perfect or ignoring the tough times. It means choosing to focus on what you can control, choosing to see opportunities even when things seem bleak. It means deciding that no matter how difficult the road ahead might be, you'll face it with resilience, optimism, and faith in your ability to overcome it. It's not about sugarcoating reality. It's about looking at the challenges, acknowledging the struggles, and then deciding that you're going to move forward with belief and purpose. A positive mindset isn't just about thinking happy thoughts. It's about thinking empowering thoughts that support who you want to become. Think about it. Your thoughts shape your world. What you think on a regular basis determines how you feel, how you act, and ultimately what you attract into your life. If you think thoughts of fear and doubt, you'll likely see more fear and doubt in your reality. But if you shift your focus toward thoughts of possibility and hope, you'll start to see those things come into your life as well. It's like this: you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. And your response, your mindset, determines the course of your life. Now let me tell you, shifting to a positive mindset doesn't happen overnight. It's something you have to work at, just like building muscle in the gym. You have to practice every day, and there will be times when you'll slip back into old ways of thinking. But that's okay. The key is to keep coming back to it, to make it a habit, and to remind yourself that your thoughts are powerful. They shape everything about your life. One of the most important things you can do to cultivate a positive mindset is to become aware of your thoughts. You see, most people go through life without ever really paying attention to the messages they're sending themselves. We all have an inner voice that talks to us, that whispers either positive or negative things. If that voice is constantly telling you that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, or that things will never get better, then it's time to change the narrative. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And once you realize that, you can choose which thoughts to embrace and which to let go of. Take a moment to think about the last time you felt really down on yourself. What were you telling yourself? Were you focusing on what you didn't have, what you couldn't do, or what you had failed at? Or were you reminding yourself of your strengths, your resilience, and your ability to overcome challenges? The truth is, we often give too much weight to our negative thoughts and don't give enough credit to our positive qualities. Start paying attention to your thoughts and ask yourself, is this helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, it's time to let it go. Your mindset is like a garden, and if you don't tend to it, weeds will grow. But when you start pulling out those negative thoughts, you create space for the positive ones to bloom. It's also important to surround yourself with positivity. Your environment has a huge impact on your mindset. Think about the people you spend the most time with. Are they supportive? Do they lift you up or bring you down? Are they focused on growth, or are they stuck in negativity? If you're surrounded by people who are constantly complaining or putting you down, it can be hard to maintain a positive mindset. That's why it's so important to create an environment that nurtures your growth. Spend time with people who encourage you, who inspire you, who challenge you to be better. Seek out books, podcasts, or content that empowers you and helps you stay focused on your goals. The more you immerse yourself in positivity, the easier it becomes to adopt that mindset yourself. But here's the thing, even if your external environment isn't ideal, you can still choose your inner environment. You can decide that no matter what's going on around you, you're going to stay focused on your growth. You're going to stay rooted in your belief that better things are on the way. No one can take that away from you unless you let them. One of the most powerful ways to shift your mindset is through gratitude. When you're grateful, you shift your focus from what's wrong in your life to what's right. You start seeing all the good things you already have, instead of constantly looking for what you're missing. Gratitude is like a magnet for more positivity. When you focus on the things you're grateful for, you attract more things to be grateful for. It's a simple practice, but one that can transform your mindset in an instant. Every day, take a moment to reflect on what you're thankful for. It could be big things like your health, your family, or your job, or small things like a beautiful sunrise, a kind word from a friend, or a cup of coffee in the morning. The more you practice gratitude, the more you'll start to notice the blessings all around you. Another key to cultivating a positive mindset is self-compassion. So often, we're our own harshest critics. We beat ourselves up over mistakes, we hold ourselves to impossible standards, and we forget to celebrate our progress. But here's the thing, you're doing the best you can. You're learning, you're growing, and you're becoming better every day. It's okay to not have everything figured out. It's okay to stumble and fall, because that's part of the journey. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself the way you would treat a friend who was going through a tough time. Remind yourself that you're worthy of love and success, and that you're capable of achieving everything you set your mind to. The final piece of the puzzle is action. A positive mindset doesn't just stay in your head, it shows up in the way you act. When you truly believe that good things are possible for you, you'll take the steps necessary to make them happen. A positive mindset will drive you to work hard, to keep going even when things get tough, and to never give up on yourself. It's not about waiting for everything to be perfect before you take action. It's about taking imperfect action, knowing that with each step you're getting closer to your goal. So, if you want to cultivate a positive mindset, start today. Pay attention to your thoughts, surround yourself with positivity, practice gratitude, be kind to yourself, and take action. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. The more you practice, the more natural it will become, and soon you'll start seeing the world through a different lens. A positive mindset isn't just about feeling good in the moment, it's about creating a life that's aligned with your highest potential. And when you embrace it, you'll begin to see just how much power you really have to shape your own reality. Chapter 7. Mindfulness Techniques for Mental Clarity. What would it feel like to have the power to calm your mind whenever it's racing, to bring yourself back into the present moment when the world feels overwhelming? Imagine being able to step away from the noise of life and find peace, no matter what's going on around you. That's the power of mindfulness, the ability to center yourself, to focus on the here and now, and to gain clarity in moments of chaos. And while it might sound simple, it can be life-changing. Mindfulness isn't some abstract, mystical practice reserved for yogis or spiritual gurus. It's something that everyone can do, right now, no matter where they are or what they're dealing with. It's the practice of being present, of paying attention on purpose without judgment. It's about noticing the world around you without letting your thoughts take you on a wild ride. We live in a world that's constantly moving. We're always busy, always thinking, always planning. We're either stuck in the past, replaying what went wrong, or worrying about the future, wondering what could go wrong. But in both cases, we miss the beauty of the present moment, the only time that we truly have. When you start practicing mindfulness, something incredible begins to happen. You begin to notice the little things, the way the sunlight filters through the trees, the warmth of your coffee mug in your hands, the sound of your breath filling your lungs. All of a sudden, life doesn't feel so chaotic. Instead, it becomes clearer. You realize that, even in the midst of stress or uncertainty, you have control over how you respond. You don't have to react automatically. You can pause, take a breath, and make a conscious decision about how you want to show up in the moment. One of the most powerful things about mindfulness is its ability to reduce mental clutter. You know the feeling, when your mind is swirling with a million thoughts, and it's impossible to focus on anything. It's exhausting. When you're constantly thinking about everything at once, it's hard to make clear decisions or take effective action. But mindfulness helps to clear that mental fog. It allows you to separate yourself from your thoughts, to observe them without getting swept away by them. It's like stepping back from a busy street and finding a peaceful park bench where you can just breathe and regroup. You're able to see things more clearly, and in that clarity, you'll find the mental space to make the best choices for your life. Now I know what you might be thinking. I can't just stop my thoughts. Of course not. Mindfulness isn't about getting rid of your thoughts. It's about learning to relate to them differently. It's about noticing the thoughts that come and go without getting attached to them. You don't have to believe everything your mind tells you. Just because a thought pops into your head doesn't mean it's true, and it doesn't mean you have to act on it. In fact, the more you practice mindfulness, the more you'll begin to realize how often your thoughts are just random, passing clouds. You don't need to follow them. You can let them drift by. The beauty of mindfulness is that it's simple. You don't need a special place or fancy equipment. You can practice mindfulness anywhere, while you're sitting at your desk, walking down the street, or even standing in line at the grocery store. The first step is to just bring your attention to the present moment. You can do this by focusing on your breath, noticing the sensations in your body, or simply observing the world around you. The key is to be fully present, without judgment or distraction. It's about accepting whatever is happening right now, without wishing it were different. One of the best ways to start practicing mindfulness is with a simple breathing exercise. I know, it sounds almost too easy, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful. Sit or stand in a comfortable position, close your eyes if you can, and take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for just a moment, then exhale slowly. As you breathe, try to pay attention only to the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. If your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back to the breath. It's completely normal for your thoughts to wander, and it's okay. The goal isn't to stop your thoughts, it's just to keep returning your focus to the breath whenever you get distracted. Over time, this practice helps train your mind to be more present, more focused, and less overwhelmed by distractions. The beauty of this simple practice is that you can take it with you anywhere. You don't need to carve out hours of time each day for mindfulness. In fact, it's often more effective to practice mindfulness in small moments throughout your day. The next time you're feeling stressed, pause for a moment, take a few deep breaths, and bring your attention to the present. Notice how it feels to just be with your breath, to let go of the worries, and to simply be. The more you practice, the easier it will become to find calm in the midst of chaos. Another powerful technique for cultivating mindfulness is body awareness. Often, when we're stressed or anxious, we don't even realize how much tension we're holding in our bodies. We might clench our fists, tighten our shoulders, or hold our breath without realizing it. By bringing awareness to our bodies, we can begin to release that tension and bring ourselves back into the present. You can practice this by simply scanning your body from head to toe, noticing any areas of tightness or discomfort. As you notice them, take a deep breath and consciously relax those areas. This technique not only helps release physical tension, but it also brings you back to the present moment, grounding you in your body instead of getting lost in your thoughts. One of the most profound benefits of mindfulness is its ability to improve your emotional well-being. When you're mindful, you become more aware of your emotions, and you stop reacting automatically to them. Instead of letting your emotions control you, you learn to observe them without judgment. You can feel anger or frustration without allowing those emotions to dictate your actions. You can feel sadness without getting lost in it. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you become more aware of them and create space between the emotion and your reaction. In that space, you can choose how to respond rather than reacting impulsively. And here's the thing, when you practice mindfulness consistently, you begin to notice that it doesn't just help you in the moment. It spills over into your everyday life. You start to feel calmer, more focused, and more grounded. You start making decisions from a place of clarity instead of emotional overwhelm. You start to handle stress better, communicate more effectively, and show up more fully in your relationships. Mindfulness changes the way you approach life, and it helps you live with more intention, more awareness, and more peace. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the noise of the world, or if you're struggling to find clarity in the chaos, start practicing mindfulness. It doesn't require anything special, just a willingness to be present and to experience life as it is, right now. With each breath, each moment of awareness, you'll find your mind clearing, your heart calming, and your world becoming a little bit brighter. Mindfulness isn't just a technique, it's a way of living, a way of showing up fully in your own life. And once you embrace it, you'll discover that you have the power to bring peace and clarity into every moment. Chapter 8. Recognizing financial mindsets. When it comes to money, we don't just make decisions based on facts or figures, we make decisions based on the beliefs we have about money. It's easy to think of financial success as simply earning more, saving more, or spending less. But the truth is, your mindset around money is what truly shapes your financial reality. Whether we realize it or not, the way we think about money affects every single choice we make. Take a moment to think about your own relationship with money. How do you feel when you think about it? Do you feel confident, hopeful, and in control, or do you feel anxious, unsure, and maybe even resentful? These feelings come from the beliefs you hold deep down about money, beliefs that were shaped by your upbringing, your experiences, and the messages you've received from society. These beliefs are powerful because they influence how you approach your finances, how you talk about money, and how you make financial decisions. The first step in shifting your financial situation is recognizing the mindset that's driving your behavior. You might not even be aware of the thoughts and beliefs you hold about money, but they're affecting you every day. Maybe you were raised in a family that didn't talk about money, and as a result, you grew up feeling uncomfortable or anxious when the topic came up. Or maybe you've always believed that money is hard to come by, and that belief keeps you from taking risks or pursuing opportunities that could lead to financial growth. Whatever your mindset is, it's time to take a hard look at it. Because the way you think about money has a direct impact on your ability to attract it, manage it, and grow it. If you have a scarcity mindset, where you believe that there's never enough money to go around, you'll always find yourself stuck in a cycle of stress and struggle. You might find it difficult to save, you may constantly feel behind, and no matter how much you earn, it never feels like enough. On the other hand, if you have an abundance mindset, where you believe that there's always enough to go around, and that your financial success is not limited by external circumstances, you'll approach money with a sense of possibility and confidence. You'll be open to new opportunities, you'll invest in your growth, and you'll make decisions that support long-term financial freedom. The key to shifting your financial reality is recognizing the beliefs that are holding you back and replacing them with ones that serve you. It's about changing your relationship with money so you can stop fearing it and start using it as a tool for creating the life you want. You don't have to be rich to start developing a healthy financial mindset, but you do have to believe that financial success is possible for you. When you embrace the idea that your financial future is in your hands, that's when the real transformation begins. One of the most common limiting beliefs people have about money is the idea that they'll never have enough. Maybe it's something you were taught growing up, or maybe it's something you've internalized from your experiences. But here's the truth, there's always enough money to go around. The challenge is, most of us don't believe that. We believe that there's only so much wealth to go around, and if someone else gets it, that means there's less for us. This is what leads to competition, scarcity thinking, and fear. What if, instead of believing that there's never enough, you started to believe that there is plenty to go around? What if you believed that money is a tool, something that you can use to create the life you want, to serve others, and to bring about positive change? When you adopt an abundance mindset, you stop seeing money as a limited resource and start seeing it as a vehicle for possibility. With that shift, your entire approach to money changes. You start to make decisions that are aligned with your values and long-term goals, instead of making choices out of fear or scarcity. Another key piece of recognizing your financial mindset is understanding how much your past experiences shape your present financial decisions. If you grew up in a household where money was a constant source of stress, where you never had enough, or where you saw family members struggle with debt, that experience can have a lasting effect on how you think about and manage money. You might have unconsciously adopted the belief that money is hard to get, or that it's something to be feared. But here's the thing, just because money was a source of stress in the past, doesn't mean it has to be that way forever. When you start to recognize the beliefs that you've carried with you, whether they're about scarcity, fear, or inadequacy, you have the power to challenge them. You have the ability to rewrite your story. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who will always struggle with money, you can begin to see yourself as someone who is capable of creating abundance. It's about acknowledging the past without letting it control your future. Your financial situation doesn't define who you are, and it doesn't dictate your worth. You are capable of learning, growing, and making new decisions that serve your future. Let's talk about something that's critical to shifting your financial mindset: taking responsibility. This is not about blaming yourself for past financial mistakes, but rather about taking ownership of your financial future. When you take responsibility for your finances, you stop playing the victim. You stop waiting for someone else to save you. You stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. Responsibility means that you acknowledge your current financial situation without judgment, and you decide to take action to change it. This is where many people get stuck. They look at their financial problems and think that they're too big to overcome. They think that because they've made mistakes in the past, it's impossible to create a better future. But the truth is, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to take one small step forward. When you take responsibility for your money, you stop letting your past define you. You start to focus on the choices you can make today to change your financial situation. And when you do that, you start to feel more in control. Another important element of shifting your financial mindset is developing a mindset of gratitude. When you appreciate what you have, you open the door for more to come. Instead of focusing on what you don't have or what's lacking, you begin to focus on what you can create, what you've already accomplished, and how far you've come. Gratitude shifts your energy from lack to abundance. It puts you in a mindset of attraction rather than repulsion. When you're grateful for the money you have, you're more likely to make decisions that increase your wealth. So how can you start changing your financial mindset today? It begins with becoming aware of the thoughts and beliefs that you've been carrying with you. Take a moment to reflect on your relationship with money. How do you think about it? What messages have you internalized? Are there any beliefs that are holding you back? And most importantly, are you willing to let those beliefs go? The good news is, changing your financial mindset is possible. It doesn't happen overnight, but with consistency and a commitment to growth, you can shift the way you think about money. When you do, you'll start to see new possibilities open up for you. You'll start to feel more confident, more empowered, and more in control of your financial future. Your money mindset is the foundation for everything else, so if you want to change your financial reality, start by changing the way you think. Chapter 9. The Psychology of Spending. Most of us don't realize how deeply our emotions influence how we spend. We think that every purchase we make is based on logic or necessity, but the reality is much different. If you're truly honest with yourself, you'll see that emotions are often the driving force behind many of your financial decisions, even if you don't consciously acknowledge them. Emotional spending is a powerful force that can derail your financial goals if you don't learn to recognize it and control it. Think about the times you've bought something you didn't really need, maybe something that seemed like an instant solution to a feeling you were experiencing. It could have been a new pair of shoes to cheer yourself up after a stressful day, or a pricey gadget to distract yourself from a tough week at work. In that moment, the purchase felt right, but after the high wore off, you were left with a sense of regret, guilt, or even just a lingering emptiness that no material possession can fill. I've been there, and I know many of you have too. Emotional spending is something that we've all done at one point or another, but it's important to understand that this type of spending can be harmful both to our wallets and to our long-term happiness. When we buy things based on how we're feeling in the moment, we're often making choices that don't align with our true values or our financial goals. And over time, this can create a cycle of financial instability, stress, and disappointment. But here's the good news. Emotional spending doesn't have to control your life. You can take charge of your finances by understanding the triggers behind your spending and learning how to break free from this cycle. The first step in doing so is recognizing the emotional triggers that lead you to spend in the first place. Emotional spending often happens when we're feeling a certain way, and we use shopping as a way to escape, soothe, or distract ourselves. For example, when we're stressed or overwhelmed, we might find ourselves heading to the mall or online shopping to take our minds off things. Or maybe we're feeling lonely or disconnected, and we buy something to give ourselves a temporary sense of connection or validation. Whatever the emotional trigger is, the pattern is the same. We spend money to change how we feel in that moment, and the satisfaction is short-lived. The first step in breaking this cycle is becoming more aware of these emotional triggers. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Why am I buying this? Is this purchase going to improve my life in the long run, or is it just a temporary fix for a deeper emotional need? Taking a moment to pause before making a purchase can help you reflect on your emotional state and whether the item you're about to buy is truly what you need in that moment, or if it's just a reaction to your feelings. Another key to overcoming emotional spending is recognizing the difference between wants and needs. We often confuse the two, especially when we're feeling emotional. A need is something that is essential for our well-being, like food, shelter, and basic clothing. A want, on the other hand, is something we desire but can live without, like a new phone, a trendy handbag, or a luxurious vacation. When you're caught up in an emotional moment, it can be easy to convince yourself that you need that new item, even if you don't actually need it. That's where the problem lies. In those moments, it's important to ask yourself, do I truly need this, or am I trying to fill an emotional void with something material? It's also important to recognize that emotional spending doesn't always come from negative emotions. It can also be triggered by feelings of excitement, happiness, or even celebration. While it's great to treat yourself for reaching a goal or celebrating a success, it's crucial to be mindful of the purchases you make in those moments. Celebrating with a shopping spree can feel like a reward, but if you're not careful, it can quickly turn into overspending that leaves you financially stretched and stressed. So instead of spending money every time you feel happy or excited, try finding other ways to celebrate, like enjoying a nice meal with friends or taking some time for self-care. This way, you can still honor the emotion without the financial consequences. Another effective strategy for managing emotional spending is to create a budget and stick to it. A budget isn't just a tool for tracking your income and expenses. It's a way to create financial boundaries that help you make better decisions. When you have a budget in place, it's easier to see where your money is going and to recognize areas where you might be overspending due to emotional triggers. A budget gives you the power to make intentional choices about how you use your money, and it can help you feel more in control of your finances, rather than feeling at the mercy of your emotions. Setting aside a specific amount of money each month for fun or discretionary spending is another great way to manage emotional purchases. By designating a certain amount of money for fun expenses, you can allow yourself to enjoy the occasional splurge without feeling guilty or irresponsible. The key is to make sure that these fun purchases are intentional and planned for, rather than impulsive and driven by emotion. One of the most effective ways to curb emotional spending is to pause and take a deep breath. Give yourself permission to step away from the situation and give yourself time to reflect. If you're in the store or browsing online and you feel the urge to make an impulsive purchase, try walking away for a few minutes or even a few hours. Take some time to let the initial emotional reaction subside before you make a final decision. This gives you the space to think more clearly about whether the purchase is truly necessary or if you're just reacting to your emotions. Another strategy is to find healthier ways to cope with emotions that don't involve spending money. Emotional spending is often a way of coping with stress, anxiety, loneliness, or even boredom. If you can find alternative ways to deal with these emotions, you'll be less likely to turn to shopping as a quick fix. Exercise, journaling, meditation, spending time with loved ones, or engaging in a hobby are all great ways to relieve emotional tension without reaching for your wallet. The key to overcoming emotional spending isn't about depriving yourself or denying yourself the occasional treat. It's about becoming more aware of your emotional triggers and making conscious, intentional choices about how you spend your money. It's about recognizing that the temporary satisfaction of a purchase isn't worth the long-term financial consequences. When you take control of your emotions, you take control of your finances. And when you take control of your finances, you create the foundation for a future that is more secure, more intentional, and more aligned with your true values. Emotional spending is something that many of us struggle with, but the good news is that it's possible to break the cycle. By becoming aware of your emotional triggers, recognizing the difference between wants and needs, sticking to a budget, and finding healthier ways to cope with emotions, you can start making smarter financial decisions that serve your long-term goals. It's not about being perfect, it's about being mindful, making better choices and taking control of your money so that it works for you, not against you. Chapter 10. Control your financial conversations. Money. It's not just numbers on a page or pieces of paper in your wallet. It's deeply tied to emotions, relationships, and the way we communicate with each other. And when it comes to conversations about money, let's be honest, they can get tricky. Some of the most intense arguments, strained relationships, and personal anxieties stem from financial discussions. Why is that? Because money has meaning. It represents security, power, independence, and even love. It touches every part of our lives, and that makes talking about it a delicate dance. Have you ever avoided a conversation about money because you were afraid of the conflict it might cause? Maybe you didn't want to ask a friend to pay back a loan, or you hesitated to tell your partner about your credit card debt. Or maybe you've been on the other side of things. Someone brought up money, and it instantly felt uncomfortable, defensive, or overwhelming. The truth is, most of us weren't taught how to have healthy financial conversations. We pick up habits from what we saw growing up, and sometimes those habits aren't the most effective. The good news is that you can change that. You can learn to talk about money in a way that builds understanding, trust, and solutions. It starts with a mindset shift. Instead of thinking of money as a source of tension or judgment, start seeing it as a tool for creating the life you want, and a topic that deserves openness and respect. When you approach financial conversations from this perspective, you'll notice a shift in how they feel. They become less about pointing fingers or avoiding blame, and more about finding common ground and moving forward together. Let's start with one of the most important principles of having effective money conversations: honesty. It sounds simple, but being truthful about your financial situation can be one of the hardest things to do. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the vulnerability that comes with admitting where you are financially. Maybe you've made mistakes. Who hasn't? Maybe you're not where you thought you'd be by now. That's okay. What's not okay is hiding the truth, because that only leads to bigger problems down the road. Whether you're talking to a partner, a family member, or even a financial advisor, being upfront about your financial reality is the foundation for trust and progress. Honesty goes hand in hand with empathy. When you're discussing money with someone else, it's important to remember that they have their own experiences, fears, and goals tied to finances. Maybe they grew up in a household where money was scarce, and now they feel anxious about spending. Or maybe they've been burned in the past by financial dishonesty, and they're wary of opening up. Whatever the case, listening with empathy means setting aside judgment and truly trying to understand their perspective. It's not about agreeing with everything they say. It's about creating a space where both of you feel heard and respected. One of the best ways to approach a money conversation is by starting with shared goals. For example, if you're talking to your partner, focus on what you're working toward together: a vacation, buying a home, paying off debt. When you frame the discussion around shared goals, it becomes less about you versus me and more about us. This shift in focus helps to align your efforts and reduces the chances of conflict. It's easier to talk about cutting back on expenses when both of you are excited about what you're saving for. Of course, even with the best intentions, emotions can still run high during financial discussions. Money has a way of touching on deeper fears and insecurities, and that's when it's crucial to stay calm and grounded. If you feel the conversation starting to heat up, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and remind yourself of the bigger picture. This isn't about winning an argument or proving a point. It's about working together to solve a problem or achieve a goal. If needed, suggest taking a break and revisiting the conversation later when emotions aren't as charged. One practical tip for smoother money conversations is to come prepared. If you're discussing a specific topic, like creating a budget or splitting expenses, gather the necessary information ahead of time. This could be bank statements, receipts, or even just a clear breakdown of your income and expenses. When you approach the conversation with facts and figures, it's easier to stay focused on solutions rather than letting emotions take over. Preparation shows that you're serious about finding a resolution, and it gives the discussion a sense of direction. It's also important to set boundaries during financial conversations. If certain topics feel overwhelming or triggering, it's okay to acknowledge that and set limits on how much you'll discuss at one time. For example, if you're tackling a big financial issue like debt, break it down into smaller discussions rather than trying to solve everything in one sitting. This approach makes the conversation more manageable and less likely to spiral into frustration or overwhelm. Another key element of effective financial communication is compromise. There will be times when you and the other person don't see eye to eye, and that's normal. The goal isn't to always agree. It's to find a middle ground that works for both of you. Maybe one of you wants to save aggressively while the other prefers to enjoy life in the present. Instead of seeing this as a conflict, see it as an opportunity to create a balanced plan that honors both perspectives. Compromise doesn't mean giving up what's important to you. It means finding a way to move forward together. Finally, don't underestimate the power of gratitude and positivity in financial conversations. It's easy to focus on what's going wrong or what needs to be fixed, but don't forget to celebrate the wins along the way. Whether it's paying off a credit card, sticking to a budget for the month, or simply having a productive conversation about money, take time to acknowledge those victories. Gratitude and positivity create momentum, and they remind you of why these conversations matter in the first place. Talking about money isn't always easy, but it's one of the most important skills you can develop. When you approach these conversations with honesty, empathy, preparation, and a focus on shared goals, they become less about conflict and more about connection. And as you get better at communicating about money, you'll find that it not only strengthens your financial health, but also deepens your relationships and builds trust. So the next time you're faced with a money conversation, don't shy away from it. Step into it with confidence, knowing that you have the tools to navigate it with clarity and care. Chapter 11. Setting goals for success. Success starts with clarity. It starts with knowing what you want, why you want it, and how you plan to get there. Too often, people drift through life without a clear sense of direction, hoping things will somehow work out. But here's the truth. Hope is not a strategy. If you want to achieve something meaningful, whether it's financial stability, emotional peace, or personal growth, you need a plan. And at the heart of that plan are your goals. Goal setting is a skill that separates those who merely wish for change from those who make it happen. Think about it for a moment. Every great achievement, every big success, began as a goal in someone's mind. That goal gave them focus. It gave them a reason to push forward when things got tough. Without goals, life has a way of pulling you in 100 different directions, leaving you feeling scattered and unfulfilled. But with goals, you have a roadmap. You know where you're going, and every step you take brings you closer to that destination. One of the most powerful things about setting goals is that it forces you to take responsibility for your life. It's no longer about what someone else did or didn't do. It's about what you're going to do to create the life you want. That shift in mindset, from being a passive observer to an active participant, can be life-changing. You start to see challenges, not as roadblocks, but as opportunities to grow. You start to feel a sense of control over your future. And that feeling, that's empowerment. But let's get practical for a minute. It's not enough to say, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy. Those are great ideas, but they're too vague to be actionable. What does success look like to you? What does happiness feel like? The more specific you can be, the better. Maybe success means building a career you're passionate about, or paying off your debt by a certain date. Maybe happiness means spending more quality time with your family, or improving your health. Whatever it is, define it clearly. When you know exactly what you're working toward, it's easier to stay focused and motivated. Once you've defined your goals, break them down into smaller, manageable steps. Big goals can feel overwhelming, and that's where a lot of people get stuck. They look at the mountain they want to climb and think, there's no way I can do that. But here's the thing, you don't climb a mountain in one leap. You take it one step at a time. Each small step builds momentum and brings you closer to the top. So if your goal is to save $10,000, start by saving $100. If your goal is to run a marathon, start by running 1 mile. Celebrate those small wins because they're proof that you're making progress. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked. Why your goals matter. This is where you dig deep. It's not just about what you want to achieve, it's about why it's important to you. Your why is your anchor. It's what keeps you grounded when the journey gets tough. Maybe you want to build a better financial future for your family. Maybe you want to prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. Whatever your reason, connect with it on an emotional level. When your why is strong enough, you'll find the strength to keep going, no matter what obstacles come your way. Another important part of goal setting is accountability. It's easy to make promises to yourself and then let them slide when no one else is watching. But when you share your goals with someone you trust, whether it's a friend, a mentor, or a coach, you create a sense of accountability. That person becomes your cheerleader and your reality check, someone who will encourage you to keep going and call you out if you start to drift off course. And don't underestimate the power of self-accountability. Keep track of your progress, write down your goals and review them regularly. When you see how far you've come, it fuels your motivation to keep pushing forward. Of course, life doesn't always go as planned. There will be setbacks, detours, and moments of doubt. That's just part of the journey. But setbacks don't mean failure. They mean you're trying. They mean you're out there, taking risks and learning as you go. When things don't go as expected, take a step back and reassess. What can you learn from the experience? What adjustments do you need to make? Remember, the path to success isn't a straight line. It's a series of twists, turns, and course corrections. The key is to keep moving forward. One of the most rewarding parts of setting and achieving goals is the person you become in the process. It's not just about reaching the destination, it's about the growth and transformation that happen along the way. Every time you push past a challenge, every time you achieve something you once thought was impossible, you're building confidence and resilience. You're proving to yourself that you have what it takes to create the life you want, and that sense of accomplishment, that's priceless. As you think about your own goals, take a moment to imagine what your life could look like a year from now, 5 years from now, or even 10 years from now. Picture yourself living the life you've always wanted, the career, the relationships, the health, the financial stability. How does it feel? What's different? That vision is your future, and it's waiting for you to claim it. All it takes is a decision to start, followed by consistent, intentional action. So, where do you begin? Right here, right now. Take out a piece of paper and write down one goal that matters to you. It doesn't have to be perfect or elaborate, just something that excites you and feels meaningful. Then write down the first small step you can take toward that goal. Commit to taking that step today, no matter how small it seems, because that's how success begins, with one clear goal, one small step, and a commitment to keep moving forward. The rest will follow. Chapter 12. Building a supportive network. The people you surround yourself with can make or break you. It's a truth as old as time, but one we often overlook. Think about it. The voices you hear the most, the attitudes you absorb, and the energy you engage with every day have a direct impact on your thoughts, your decisions, and ultimately your success. If you're surrounded by negativity, it's only a matter of time before you start to feel the weight of it yourself. But if you're surrounded by people who inspire you, uplift you, and challenge you to grow, your life begins to reflect that positivity and drive. Let's start by acknowledging something simple but profound. You don't get to choose the family you're born into, but you do get to choose the relationships you nurture. You can decide who gets to influence your thoughts and your journey. And yes, that means some hard decisions might be necessary. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay forever. Some people are there for a season, and others are meant to walk the long road with you. Part of building a supportive network is learning to identify which is which. It's important to take a close look at the relationships in your life. Be honest with yourself. Are the people around you helping you grow, or are they holding you back? Are they pouring encouragement into you, or are they draining your energy with complaints, doubts, or criticism? It's not about judging anyone. It's about protecting your own mental and emotional well-being. Sometimes, people mean well but don't realize the impact their negativity or lack of ambition has on those around them. If you notice that a relationship consistently leaves you feeling down, it's worth considering how much time and energy you're giving to that person. At the same time, don't underestimate the value of seeking out people who challenge you in a healthy way. A supportive network isn't just about finding people who agree with you all the time or who make you feel comfortable. It's also about surrounding yourself with individuals who inspire you to think bigger, work harder, and aim higher. These are the people who see potential in you even when you can't see it in yourself. They're the ones who encourage you to take risks, who cheer you on when you succeed, and who help you find your footing when you stumble. Building this kind of network takes effort and intention. It's not something that happens by accident. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, to connect with new people, and to nurture relationships that align with your values and goals. One of the best ways to start is by getting clear on the kind of support you need. Maybe you're looking for a mentor to guide you in your career. Maybe you need friends who share your passion for personal growth. Or maybe you're seeking a community that shares your values and beliefs. Whatever it is, clarity will help you recognize the right opportunities when they come along. Sometimes, building a supportive network means stepping outside your comfort zone. It might mean joining a group, attending events, or reaching out to someone you admire. These things can feel intimidating at first, but they're often where the magic happens. When you put yourself in environments where growth-minded people gather, you increase your chances of connecting with individuals who can truly support and inspire you. And here's the thing, most people are more approachable than you think. A kind word, a genuine compliment, or a thoughtful question can open the door to meaningful connections. While you're focusing on building a positive network, remember that relationships are a two-way street. It's not just about what others can do for you, it's about what you can bring to the table as well. Are you the kind of person others would want in their corner? Do you offer encouragement, share wisdom, and celebrate the successes of those around you? Be intentional about how you show up in your relationships. The energy you give often determines the energy you receive. One of the challenges you might face as you build your network is dealing with toxic relationships. These are the connections that drain you emotionally, leave you feeling unsupported, or even discourage you from pursuing your goals. It's not easy to let go of these relationships, especially if they're long-standing or tied to people you care about deeply. But sometimes, letting go is necessary for your own well-being and growth. If a relationship consistently brings you stress or negativity, it's okay to set boundaries or to step back. It's not selfish, it's self-care. As you strengthen your network, don't forget to appreciate the people who've been there for you along the way. Gratitude goes a long way in maintaining and deepening relationships. Take the time to thank those who've supported you, encouraged you, or simply listened when you needed to talk. A heartfelt note, a phone call, or even a simple thank you can mean the world to someone who's invested in your success. Over time, you'll notice that a strong, supportive network becomes more than just a collection of relationships. It becomes a source of strength, encouragement, and accountability. It becomes a foundation for your growth and a reminder that you don't have to walk this journey alone. Life is challenging enough without trying to do it all on your own. Surrounding yourself with the right people can make all the difference, not just in achieving your goals but in enjoying the process along the way. Remember, the relationships you choose to invest in today shape the life you'll live tomorrow. Choose wisely. Seek out those who inspire you to be your best self and who remind you of what's possible when you dare to dream big. And most importantly, be that person for someone else. Because when you lift others up, you rise with them. Chapter 13. Emotional Resilience. There's a moment in everyone's life when they're tested. You've been there, you know what I mean. A situation comes out of nowhere and knocks the wind out of you. Maybe it's a financial setback, a breakup, a betrayal, or a loss you weren't prepared for. It feels like the ground beneath you is gone, and for a moment you wonder if you can ever get back on your feet. That's when emotional resilience steps in. It's what keeps you standing when life tries to push you down. It's not about avoiding difficulties, but about learning how to face them with strength, grace, and determination. Let's be clear, resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, like a muscle. And just like building physical strength, it takes effort, consistency, and sometimes a little discomfort. The good news is that anyone can do it. You don't have to be extraordinary to bounce back from life's challenges. You just have to be willing to grow through them. Every setback is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more equipped to handle whatever comes your way next. The first step in building emotional resilience is acknowledging that life is unpredictable. You can plan, prepare, and hope for the best. But the truth is, things won't always go the way you want them to. That doesn't mean you're powerless. It means you have to learn to adapt. Resilience is about flexibility. It's about understanding that you can't control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond. Think about that for a moment. Your response is your power. Even in the face of adversity, you have a choice. One of the most important choices you can make is to shift your perspective. When something difficult happens, it's easy to get stuck in a mindset of why me, or this isn't fair. And while those feelings are valid, they won't move you forward. Instead, try asking yourself, what can I learn from this, or how can I grow because of this? It's not about ignoring the pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about finding meaning in the struggle. When you can see challenges as opportunities for growth, they lose some of their power to overwhelm you. Another key to resilience is learning to manage your emotions in the heat of the moment. It's normal to feel angry, sad, or frustrated when things go wrong. Those emotions are part of being human, but letting them control you is a different story. Emotional resilience means being able to feel your feelings without being ruled by them. It's about creating space between what happens and how you react. That space gives you time to think, to breathe, and to choose a response that aligns with who you want to be. One of the best tools for managing your emotions is mindfulness. When you're mindful, you're fully present in the moment, without judgment. You're not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. You're simply here, now. That kind of focus can be incredibly grounding, especially in times of stress. Practicing mindfulness doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths when you feel overwhelmed, or pausing to notice the sensations in your body. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to stay calm and centered, no matter what's happening around you. Resilience also relies on connection. No one gets through life alone, and you shouldn't have to face challenges by yourself. Lean on the people who care about you. Share your struggles with a trusted friend, family member, or mentor. Sometimes just talking about what you're going through can lighten the load, and don't underestimate the power of helping others too. When you support someone else in their time of need, you not only strengthen your relationship, but also remind yourself of your own strength and capacity to give. Taking care of yourself physically is another crucial part of building resilience. When you're tired, hungry, or neglecting your body, it's harder to handle stress and setbacks. Make sure you're eating well, staying active, and getting enough rest. These might seem like small things, but they add up. A strong body supports a strong mind, and taking care of your physical health can give you the energy and clarity you need to face life's challenges head-on. As you navigate the ups and downs of life, remember to celebrate your progress. Resilience isn't about never falling, it's about always getting back up. Every time you face a challenge and come out the other side, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Take pride in those moments. They're evidence of your strength, your courage, and your ability to grow. Life will continue to test you. That's a given. But with each test, you have an opportunity to become stronger. You have the chance to show yourself what you're made of. Resilience isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. It's about using every experience, good or bad, as a stepping stone toward the person you want to become. So when life throws you a curveball, don't shy away, face it. Learn from it. Let it shape you into someone even more incredible than you were before. You've got what it takes. It's already inside you. Resilience isn't about never feeling pain or doubt. It's about believing in your ability to overcome. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. So take a deep breath, stand tall, and remind yourself that no matter what comes your way, you've got the strength to handle it. And every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward the life you're meant to live. Chapter 14. The Balance of Work and Life. Life is a balancing act, isn't it? You wake up in the morning, and the demands start piling on almost immediately. Emails to check, tasks to complete, people to respond to, bills to pay. It can feel like a juggling act where someone keeps tossing you another ball just as you're starting to find your rhythm. Work pulls you in one direction, while family, friends, and your personal well-being tug at you from the other. If you're not careful, you might find yourself constantly off balance, teetering on the edge of burnout, wondering where all your time and energy went. Let me tell you something that's both sobering and empowering. Your life will always reflect your priorities. If work is your top focus, your career may flourish, but your relationships and health could suffer. If all your energy goes into helping others, you might end up neglecting your own needs. Balance isn't about splitting your time evenly across all areas of your life. It's about intentionally deciding what matters most to you and aligning your actions with those values. It's about creating harmony between the different parts of your life, so you can thrive instead of just survive. One of the biggest challenges with balance is that it's not static. Life changes, responsibilities shift, and what worked for you last year or even last week might not work now. That's why balance isn't something you achieve once and forget about. It's a constant practice of recalibration. It's about checking in with yourself regularly and asking, am I spending my time and energy in ways that align with what I value most? Now, let's talk about work. For many of us, work takes up a significant portion of our lives. It provides financial stability, a sense of purpose, and opportunities for growth. But if you're not careful, it can also become all-consuming. Have you ever caught yourself answering emails late at night or thinking about work problems while spending time with loved ones? It's easy to let work bleed into every corner of your life, especially if you're passionate about what you do or feel pressure to perform. But here's the truth. No amount of professional success can replace the things that truly make life meaningful, like health, relationships, and personal fulfillment. One way to create more balance is by setting boundaries. Boundaries are like invisible fences that protect your time, energy, and mental health. They're not about shutting people out. They're about creating space for the things that matter most. Maybe that means turning off work notifications after a certain time each day, or learning to say no to commitments that don't align with your priorities. At first, setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being available 24/7. But remember, every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Make sure your yeses align with the life you want to create. Another important part of balance is making time for rest and renewal. We live in a culture that often glorifies busyness, where being constantly on is seen as a badge of honor. But the truth is, you can't pour from an empty cup. Rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Whether it's getting enough sleep, taking breaks during the day, or scheduling downtime to do something you enjoy, rest fuels your energy and focus. It allows you to show up fully in all areas of your life, instead of just going through the motions. Sometimes, balance also means letting go of the idea that you have to do everything yourself. Delegating tasks, asking for help, or even simplifying your commitments can free up time and energy for the things that truly matter. There's no shame in admitting that you can't do it all. In fact, recognizing your limits is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's about working smarter, not harder, and focusing on the areas where you can have the most impact. One of the best ways to find balance is by getting clear on your values. What matters most to you? Is it spending quality time with your family, taking care of your health, pursuing personal growth? Once you know your priorities, it becomes easier to make decisions about where to invest your time and energy. And when life starts to feel chaotic, those values can act as your anchor, helping you stay grounded and focused on what truly matters. It's also important to remember that balance looks different for everyone. What works for one person might not work for you, and that's okay. Your journey is unique, and so is your definition of balance. Give yourself permission to experiment, to adjust, and to find what feels right for you. There's no one-size-fits-all approach, and that's part of what makes life so rich and rewarding. As you work toward creating more balance in your life, don't forget to celebrate the small wins. Maybe you took a break to eat lunch away from your desk, or you made it to your kid's soccer game, or you simply said no to something that didn't align with your priorities. Those moments matter. They're signs that you're moving in the right direction, even if the progress feels slow at times. Life will always be full of competing demands, but you have the power to decide how you navigate them. Balance isn't about being perfect or having everything figured out. It's about making intentional choices that align with your values and allow you to live a life that feels fulfilling and meaningful. It's about learning to flow with the changes and challenges, knowing that you're capable of creating harmony even in the midst of chaos. So take a moment to pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what does balance look like for me right now? What small step can I take today to move closer to that vision? Remember, balance isn't a destination, it's a journey, and every step you take brings you closer to the life you deserve. Keep going. You're stronger and more capable than you realize. Chapter 15. Creating healthy routines. Think about this for a moment. How many decisions do you make before you've even had breakfast? For most people, the answer is a lot. What to wear, what to eat, whether to work out, which emails to check first. Now, multiply that by the rest of your day. It's no wonder you feel drained before the day's halfway through. That's the beauty of routines. They remove the guesswork, free up mental energy, and help you start and end your day with purpose. It's not just about getting more done. It's about creating stability, clarity, and control in your life. When your routines are intentional, your day doesn't happen to you, you shape it. Think about how it feels when you wake up late, rush through your morning, and scramble to keep up with the demands of the day. You're already playing catch-up, and that stress follows you. Compare that to a morning where you wake up on time, spend a few quiet moments with yourself, and approach the day with focus and calm. The difference isn't just in your mood, it's in your productivity, your energy, and the way you interact with the world. Morning routines are especially powerful because they set the tone for everything that follows. When you start your day with intention, you're more likely to stay on track, no matter what challenges arise. A great morning doesn't have to be complicated. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. or following someone else's perfect plan. It's about finding what works for you. Maybe it's a few minutes of stretching, journaling, or sipping your coffee without distractions. Maybe it's taking a walk, reading something inspiring, or setting your priorities for the day. The key is to choose activities that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. Evening routines are just as important, though they often get overlooked. How you wind down at the end of the day affects your sleep, your mood, and your energy for the next day. If you spend your evenings scrolling on your phone or worrying about unfinished tasks, it's hard to truly rest. Instead, think of your evenings as a time to reflect, recharge, and prepare. Maybe that means writing down a few things you're grateful for, reading a book, or setting out your clothes for the next day. It's about creating a sense of closure so you can go to bed feeling at peace. One of the biggest benefits of routines is that they create consistency. When you do something regularly, it becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it or muster the motivation, you just do it. This consistency builds momentum, and momentum is what drives long-term change. Whether you're working on your health, your finances, or your personal growth, routines give you the structure to keep moving forward, even on the days when motivation is hard to find. But here's the thing, routines are meant to serve you, not the other way around. If your routine feels rigid, overwhelming, or like a chore, it's time to reevaluate. Life is dynamic, and your routines should be too. Maybe you're in a season where you need more rest, or maybe you're ready to take on a new challenge. Either way, give yourself permission to adapt. Flexibility doesn't mean failure, it means you're paying attention to what you need in the moment. Let's talk about creating routines that stick. Start small. It's tempting to overhaul your entire day at once, but that often leads to burnout. Instead, focus on one habit at a time. Maybe you want to start exercising in the morning, or spend 10 minutes meditating before bed. Once that habit feels solid, you can add another. Think of it like building a foundation, one brick at a time. Make your routines enjoyable. If you dread your morning workout, or hate your nightly chores, it's going to be hard to stay consistent. Look for ways to make these activities more pleasant. Listen to your favorite music while you clean up. Choose a workout you genuinely enjoy, or reward yourself with a little treat when you stick to your plan. When you associate your routines with positive feelings, they become something you look forward to instead of something you have to endure. It's also important to remove as many barriers as possible. If your goal is to drink more water, keep a water bottle on your desk or by your bed. If you want to read more, leave a book where you'll see it. These small tweaks make it easier to follow through, especially on busy or challenging days. There will be times when life throws you off track, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. If you miss a day or two, don't beat yourself up. Just pick up where you left off. Routines are like a safety net. They're there to catch you when life gets chaotic, but they're not meant to trap you. Give yourself grace and focus on the bigger picture. As you work on building your routines, take a moment to notice the ripple effects. Maybe your morning workout gives you more energy throughout the day, or your evening gratitude practice improves your relationships. These small habits have a way of compounding over time, creating positive changes that go far beyond the routine itself. Routines might seem simple, but they're incredibly powerful. They give you a sense of control in an unpredictable world. They help you show up as your best self, day after day. And they remind you that even the smallest actions, done consistently, can lead to extraordinary results. So take a deep breath, start small, and trust the process. You have everything you need to create a life of balance, clarity, and purpose, one intentional moment at a time. Chapter 16. Mastering Stress Management. Stress is one of those things we all face, yet so few of us are taught how to handle it. It creeps into our lives in ways we don't always notice until it feels overwhelming. It's in the deadlines that seem impossible, the unexpected bills that pile up, the tension in relationships, and the endless to-do lists. But here's the thing. Stress isn't inherently bad. It's how we respond to it that makes all the difference. When you learn how to manage stress effectively, it stops controlling you. Instead, it becomes something you can use to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I want you to think for a moment about the last time you felt really stressed out. Maybe your chest was tight, your heart was racing, or your thoughts were spiraling in a million directions. It's not a pleasant feeling, is it? Stress has a way of hijacking your body and mind, making it hard to think clearly or act with purpose. But what if, instead of letting it consume you, you could face it head-on and turn it into something positive? That's what I want to help you do. One of the first steps in managing stress is understanding where it's coming from. Stress doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It has triggers, whether they're external, like a demanding boss, or a noisy environment, or internal, like self-doubt or perfectionism. When you take the time to identify your stressors, you take the first step toward taking control. Sometimes, just naming what's causing you stress can be a relief in itself, because it brings clarity to what often feels chaotic. Once you know your triggers, it's important to address them in a way that feels manageable. Not every stressor can be eliminated, but many can be minimized with a little intentional effort. For example, if you're stressed about time, try breaking your day into smaller chunks and focusing on one task at a time. If you're feeling overwhelmed by clutter, take just 5 minutes to tidy up a space that's bothering you. Small actions can create a big sense of relief. But what about the stressors you can't change? Maybe it's a health challenge, a family situation, or something completely out of your control. This is where your mindset becomes your greatest tool. You may not be able to control the situation, but you can control how you respond to it. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, look for what you can learn or how you can grow. Every challenge carries a lesson if you're willing to see it. Another powerful way to manage stress is to create moments of calm in your day. Life is busy, but even in the busiest seasons, there's always room to pause. It could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths, going for a walk, or sitting quietly with your thoughts. These moments aren't a luxury, they're a necessity. They give your mind and body a chance to reset, so you can face your challenges with clarity and strength. Physical activity is another fantastic stress reliever. When you move your body, whether it's through a workout, a dance session in your living room, or a stroll around the block, you're releasing built-up tension and boosting your mood. It doesn't have to be intense or time-consuming. The key is consistency. When you make movement a regular part of your life, you're equipping yourself to handle stress more effectively. Let's not forget the power of connection. Stress has a way of isolating us, making us feel like we're the only ones struggling. But the truth is, everyone faces stress, and there's incredible strength in sharing your burdens with someone you trust. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or a professional, talking things out can help you feel seen, heard, and supported. You don't have to carry it all on your own. It's also important to be mindful of how you talk to yourself during stressful times. Negative self-talk can make stress feel even heavier. If you catch yourself thinking things like, "I'll never get this done," or "I'm so bad at this," pause and reframe those thoughts. Remind yourself that you're doing your best and that it's okay to ask for help or take a break. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend. Sometimes, stress can actually be a signal that something needs to change. Maybe you've taken on too much, or you're not giving yourself enough time to rest and recharge. Use stress as a cue to evaluate your life and make adjustments where needed. It's not about being perfect, it's about finding a rhythm that works for you. One of the most powerful ways to transform stress is to focus on gratitude. When you're stressed, it's easy to get caught up in what's wrong. But when you take a moment to acknowledge what's good, it shifts your perspective. Maybe it's a kind word from a coworker, a beautiful sunset, or the fact that you got through a tough day. Gratitude doesn't erase stress, but it gives you the strength to face it with a lighter heart. Remember, managing stress is a skill. Unlike any skill, it takes practice. There will be days when it feels harder than others, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep showing up, keep trying, and keep learning. Stress doesn't have to control your life. With the right tools and mindset, you can turn it into a source of strength and growth. You've got this. Chapter 17. Saving and investing wisely. When it comes to money, there are two distinct paths you can take. You can either let your finances control you, or you can take control of them. Saving and investing wisely is one of the most empowering steps you can take toward financial freedom and peace of mind. It's not just about putting dollars in a bank account or chasing stock market trends. It's about building a foundation for your life, one that supports your dreams, protects your future, and allows you to live with intention. Let's start with saving, because that's where everything begins. Saving is often overlooked because it feels slow. It doesn't have the excitement of big purchases or flashy investments, but saving is what gives you stability. It's the cushion that keeps life's unexpected twists and turns from knocking you completely off course. It's the quiet but powerful act of saying, "I'm preparing for what's ahead." Whether it's a sudden car repair, a medical bill, or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, having money set aside gives you options. And options are freedom. The question is, how do you get into the habit of saving, especially if money feels tight? The key is to start small and stay consistent. It's not about how much you save at first, it's about building the habit. If all you can spare is $5 or $10 a week, start there. Over time, those small amounts add up, and more importantly, you'll develop the discipline of setting money aside. And as your financial situation improves, you can increase what you're saving. It's not the size of the steps that matters, it's the direction you're heading. Once you've developed a habit of saving, you can begin to think about investing. Investing is where your money starts to work for you. It's how you move from simply saving what you earn to growing your wealth over time. But let me be clear, investing isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a long-term strategy. It requires patience, research, and a willingness to stick to your plan, even when the market doesn't look great. One of the most important things to understand about investing is that it's not just for rich people or financial experts. Anyone can learn to invest. You don't need a degree in finance or a six-figure income to get started. What you need is a willingness to learn and a mindset that values growth over time. Begin by educating yourself on the basics. Understand terms like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and index funds. Learn about risk and diversification. There are countless free resources available today. Books, podcasts, videos that can guide you. When you're ready to invest, start simple. If your workplace offers a retirement plan like a 401k or equivalent, take advantage of it. Many employers match your contributions up to a certain percentage, which is essentially free money. Don't leave that on the table. If a retirement plan isn't an option, consider opening an individual retirement account, IRA, or a brokerage account. The important thing is to take that first step. It might feel intimidating at first, but remember, every investor was a beginner once. Now let's talk about the emotional side of saving and investing, because that's just as important as the practical side. Money has a way of stirring up all kinds of feelings: anxiety, fear, excitement, even guilt. You might worry about whether you're saving enough or investing the right way. You might feel guilty about spending money on yourself, or hesitant to invest because it feels risky. These feelings are normal, but they don't have to hold you back. Acknowledge them, but don't let them control your decisions. The best way to combat financial fear is with knowledge and action. The more you understand about money, and the more steps you take to manage it, the less intimidating it becomes. I want you to think about what saving and investing could mean for your life. It's not just about numbers in a bank account, it's about what those numbers represent. Maybe it's the freedom to leave a job you don't love. Maybe it's the ability to travel, to buy a home, or to give generously to causes you care about. Maybe it's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you're prepared for whatever life throws your way. Whatever it is, keep that vision in mind. It's your why, and it will keep you motivated when saving feels slow or investing feels uncertain. Another key to financial success is avoiding the comparison trap. It's easy to look around and feel like you're behind because someone else seems to have it all figured out. But everyone's financial journey is different, and comparing yourself to others will only steal your focus and energy. Instead of worrying about what someone else is doing, focus on your own goals and progress. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. Every dollar saved or invested is a step in the right direction. Finally, remember that saving and investing are not about perfection. You don't have to get it right every single time. You don't have to be an expert overnight. What matters is that you're trying, learning, and growing. There will be mistakes along the way, and that's okay. Learn from them, adjust your strategy, and keep moving forward. Financial freedom is not a destination you reach in a day. It's a journey you build over time. You have everything you need to take control of your financial future. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. What matters is where you're going and your commitment to getting there. Take that first step today. Open that savings account, invest in your knowledge, and believe in your ability to create the life you want. Your future self will thank you. Chapter 18. The Role of Gratitude. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most profound tools we have for transforming our lives. It's not just a fleeting feeling or a polite thank you when someone holds the door open for you. Gratitude is a powerful mindset, a way of seeing the world that can shift your perspective, elevate your mood, and open the door to abundance in ways you may not even expect. It's one of those things that doesn't cost a penny, yet its value is immeasurable. Think about this for a moment. How often do you truly pause and reflect on what's good in your life? In the rush of daily responsibilities, it's easy to get caught up in what's wrong, what's missing, or what hasn't gone according to plan. We all do it. The project that didn't work out, the bill you didn't expect, the argument that left you frustrated. Those things seem to grab our attention so much more easily than the quiet, steady blessings that surround us every day. But here's the truth. What you focus on expands. If you're constantly fixated on what's wrong, you'll keep finding more of it. If you start focusing on what's right, you'll begin to notice just how much you already have. Gratitude is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It shifts your mindset from lack to abundance, from frustration to possibility. And it doesn't just make you feel good in the moment. It sets the stage for lasting changes in your mood, your relationships, and even your financial life. People who practice gratitude regularly report higher levels of happiness, lower stress, and better connections with others. It's like a ripple effect. The more you practice gratitude, the more good things you attract into your life. Let's talk about how this works in practical terms. Imagine waking up tomorrow and deciding to start your day differently. Instead of diving straight into your to-do list or scrolling through your phone, You take a few minutes to think about 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big, life-changing events. In fact, it's often the small, everyday things that mean the most. A good cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, the fact that you woke up to a new day with new possibilities. When you start your day this way, you're setting the tone for everything else that follows. You're training your mind to look for the good. Gratitude is even more powerful when you put it into action. Words are wonderful, but actions amplify the feeling. Think about the people in your life who have made a difference. When was the last time you told them how much you appreciate them? A simple note, a call, or even a heartfelt thank you can deepen your connection and remind both of you of the value of your relationship. And here's the amazing part. The more you express gratitude to others, the more it comes back to you. It's like planting seeds that grow into something beautiful over time. One area where gratitude works wonders is in our finances. That might sound odd at first. After all, how can being thankful change your bank account? But gratitude shifts the way you see money. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, you start appreciating what you do. You might realize that the paycheck you used to take for granted is something to be thankful for. The roof over your head, the food on your table, the opportunities you've had, all of these are blessings. When you approach money from a place of gratitude, you make wiser decisions. You're less likely to spend impulsively or chase material things to fill a void. Instead, you begin to use money as a tool to create more of what truly matters. Gratitude also helps you weather the tough times. Life isn't always easy, and there will be moments when things don't go as planned. But even in those moments, there's always something to hold on to. Maybe it's a lesson learned, a small kindness from someone else, or just the strength you're building by getting through it. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the hard parts of life. It means acknowledging them while still finding reasons to be thankful. It's a perspective shift that keeps you grounded and hopeful. If you've never practiced gratitude intentionally, it might feel a little strange at first. That's okay. Like any habit, it takes time to build, but the effort is worth it. Start small. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on what went well. Write it down if you can. There's something powerful about seeing your blessings in black and white. Over time, this simple practice can change the way you see the world. You'll start noticing things you might have overlooked before: the beauty of a sunset, the kindness of a stranger, the joy of accomplishing something you worked hard for. The beauty of gratitude is that it doesn't just benefit you, it benefits everyone around you. When you're thankful, you radiate positivity. You become the kind of person others want to be around, the kind of person who lifts others up. And that's a gift in itself. So take a deep breath and think about it. What are you grateful for right now? Start there. Let it grow. Because the more you focus on what's good, the more good you'll find, and the more your life will transform in ways you never thought possible. Gratitude is the key to unlocking a life filled with abundance, joy, and peace. You already have it within you. All you have to do is use it. Chapter 19. Celebrating your journey. Reflection is one of the most powerful tools for growth, yet it's often overlooked. In our fast-paced world, we're so focused on what's next, our next task, our next goal, our next achievement, that we rarely take the time to pause and look back. But here's the truth. Without reflection, progress can feel hollow. Reflection is where you connect the dots, where you make sense of the lessons life has handed you, and where you find the wisdom to keep moving forward with purpose. Imagine this. You've been climbing a mountain for hours. The effort is immense, and your focus is entirely on reaching the top. But what happens when you stop for just a moment, turn around, and see the view? Suddenly, everything changes. You notice how far you've come, the path you've carved out, and the beauty of the journey itself. That's what reflection does for your life. It lets you pause, appreciate, and learn from the experiences that have shaped you. As you think about your journey, through this book, through your personal growth, and through the challenges you've faced, take a moment to ask yourself, what have I learned? Not just the surface-level lessons, but the deeper truths about who you are and what you're capable of. Maybe you've discovered that you're stronger than you thought. Maybe you've realized that small changes can lead to big results. Or maybe you've seen that even the hardest moments can hold unexpected blessings. Reflection isn't about dwelling on the past or beating yourself up for mistakes. It's about finding meaning. Every stumble, every detour, every success, they all have something to teach you. When you take the time to reflect, you gain clarity about what's working, what's not, and what you want to do differently moving forward. It's a way of aligning your actions with your values and making sure you're on the right path for you. One of the most empowering parts of reflection is celebrating your progress. We're often so hard on ourselves, focusing on what we didn't do or what we could have done better. But let me tell you something, if you've taken even one step toward growth, that's worth celebrating. It's easy to overlook the small victories, but those are the building blocks of lasting change. Maybe you started speaking more kindly to yourself. Maybe you handled a difficult conversation with grace. Maybe you took control of your finances in a way you never have before. Whatever it is, give yourself credit. You earned it. It's also important to remember that reflection isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong practice. Life is always changing. And so are you. What worked for you a year ago might not work for you now. That's okay. Growth is about adapting, learning, and evolving. Reflection helps you stay connected to your goals and your why. It keeps you grounded in what truly matters, even as the world around you shifts. As you reflect, think about the 4 areas we've focused on throughout this journey: your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. Each of these areas plays a crucial role in your life, and they're all interconnected. When you gain control over one, it creates a ripple effect that impacts the others. Maybe you've noticed that by managing your mood, your conversations have become more positive. Or maybe you've found that by shifting your mindset about money, you've reduced stress and improved your overall outlook. These connections are powerful, and they're worth paying attention to. Take a moment to visualize where you started in each of these areas and where you are now. What has changed? What have you learned about yourself? What habits have you developed? And what challenges have you overcome? Write it down if you can. There's something about putting your thoughts on paper that makes them feel real and tangible. It's like creating a roadmap of your progress, a reminder of how far you've come and how capable you are of continuing to grow. Reflection isn't just about looking back, though it's also about looking ahead. As you think about the next chapter of your life, ask yourself, what do I want to focus on? What goals feel most important to me right now? What steps can I take to build on the foundation I've created? Be specific. The more clarity you have, the easier it will be to take action. And remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Focus on one area at a time and give yourself the grace to grow at your own pace. Above all, let reflection be a source of inspiration, not judgment. You're not here to compare yourself to anyone else or to hold yourself to some impossible standard. You're here to become the best version of you, one step at a time. That process will look different for everyone, and that's okay. What matters is that you're showing up, doing the work, and staying committed to your growth. As we near the end of this chapter, I want you to take a deep breath and feel a sense of pride in what you've accomplished. You've made a choice to invest in yourself, to take control of your life, and to create a future that aligns with your values and dreams. That's no small thing. It's the kind of choice that changes lives, not just yours, but the lives of the people around you. When you grow, you inspire others to grow too. When you show up as your best self, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond what you can see. So here's my challenge to you. Keep reflecting. Make it a regular part of your life. Use it as a tool to stay connected to your purpose, to celebrate your progress, and to chart your course forward, because your journey isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning, and the best part, you have everything you need within you to keep growing, keep learning, and keep thriving. The journey is yours to shape, and I can't wait to see where it takes you. Chapter 20. Taking Charge. A Personal Action Plan. The reality is, life is unpredictable. No matter how much planning and preparation you put into something, there are always unexpected twists and turns. But here's the key. Your ability to take charge, no matter what life throws at you, will determine how much control you really have over your own future. And that starts with one crucial step, taking full responsibility for where you are and where you're going. I know this might sound intimidating, especially if you've been struggling to make real progress in your life. But here's something you need to hear right now. You are capable of more than you know. You've already come so far. Every challenge you've faced up until this point has equipped you with tools and lessons that will help you move forward. The question now is, what are you going to do with all of that? You have the power to change the trajectory of your life starting today. It doesn't matter what you didn't do yesterday or last week. What matters is that you choose to take control right now. This moment, this decision, is where your next chapter begins. You're already equipped with the wisdom you've gained from the previous chapters. You've learned how to control your mouth, mind, mood, and money. You've gained the clarity you need to navigate difficult conversations, make better choices, and build a mindset that supports your goals. You know what triggers you, and you know how to take a step back and reflect before reacting. You've understood how your emotions, both positive and negative, shape your actions, and you've seen the incredible power of gratitude and mindfulness. You've learned how to manage your money, break free from limiting beliefs, and shift your financial mindset. Now it's time to put everything you've learned into a cohesive action plan. It's time to take what you've absorbed throughout this journey and make it work for you in the real world. But here's the thing, a plan is nothing unless you take action on it. Knowing what to do isn't enough. You've got to commit to doing it. You've got to create habits that support the future you want and be consistent in your efforts. This is where the magic happens, when intention meets action. So let's break it down. What will your action plan look like? The first step is to be crystal clear about where you want to go. It's not enough to just say, I want to be successful, or I want to be better with money. What does success look like for you? What kind of person do you want to become? What will it take to get there? Be specific. Paint a picture of your future. Don't be afraid to dream big. The clearer your vision, the easier it will be to take the steps that will lead you there. Then break that big vision into smaller, manageable steps. Success is built on small, consistent actions. If your goal is to improve your financial situation, for example, start with simple steps like tracking your spending, setting a monthly budget, and automating savings. If you want to improve your communication, focus on listening more deeply in conversations, taking a moment before responding, and practicing patience. Break each goal down into bite-sized tasks and get started. The important thing is to start. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because that moment might never come. Next, take ownership of your actions. This is crucial. Don't fall into the trap of blaming others or making excuses when things don't go according to plan. Life will never go perfectly, but you have the power to decide how you respond. Take responsibility for your actions, your progress, and your setbacks. When you own everything, you can learn from every situation, even the ones that don't go the way you expected. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities for growth, not as roadblocks. You will make mistakes, that's part of the process. But the key is to not let those mistakes define you. Instead, learn from them, make adjustments, and keep moving forward. Another important aspect of taking charge is staying flexible. As much as you plan, life is going to throw you curveballs. You might have days when things don't go as expected. The person you thought would be a great business partner might turn out to be unreliable. Your mood might dip, and your mind might struggle with self-doubt. But here's the thing, that's okay. In fact, it's normal. The key is learning how to roll with the punches. When things don't go your way, adjust your plan. Don't abandon your goals. Just find a new path forward. Stay committed, but be willing to pivot when necessary. As you continue to move forward with your action plan, remember that consistency is key. It's easy to get excited about a new goal or plan, but it's the daily habits you form that will make the biggest difference. It's the little decisions you make each day that add up over time. Keep showing up, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Keep putting in the work, even when the results aren't immediate. Success doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen with persistence. Also, don't forget the power of self-care. In the pursuit of your goals, don't sacrifice your health, relationships, or peace of mind. The better you take care of yourself, physically, emotionally, and mentally, the more energy and focus you'll have to dedicate to your goals. Success isn't just about achieving things in the external world. It's about creating a balance that supports your overall well-being. Take time to rest, recharge, and nurture the relationships that matter most to you. A fulfilled life is one that honors both personal growth and self-care. Finally, surround yourself with a supportive community. You don't have to do this alone. In fact, you shouldn't. Find people who uplift and encourage you, who share your values and your vision for the future. These are the people who will celebrate your wins, lift you up when you're down, and hold you accountable when you start to slip. A strong support network can make all the difference in your journey. So what are you waiting for? The time is now to take charge. You've done the work, you've gained the knowledge, and you have everything you need to succeed. It's all about taking that first step and committing to the journey ahead. Don't worry about the obstacles or the setbacks. Those are part of the process. Keep your vision clear, take consistent action, and know that you are capable of creating the life you want. You've got this. Now go out there and make it happen. The world is waiting for you to take charge.